He obviously was a champion for a long time, but it's been a little bit, and he's had a few losses more recently. The welterweight belt has changed hands a whole bunch of times, right? He lost to Leon lost to Bilal lost to JDM lost to, so it's not like he lost to the last guy and now he's getting a rematch or something. So I feel like the newer guys at welterweight have done enough to justify title shots for themselves.
Khamzat Chimaev становится победителем номинации «Спортсмен года». Ваши аплодисменты, наш брат, наш чемпион Khamzat Chimaev. Уважаемый Роман Алматович, только вас остался на тренинг буквально на 1 минуту.
Carlos Prates is hearing the same whispers. Usman versus Islam is being talked about behind closed doors, shared management, mutual interest, business logic. But even then, Prates doesn't think Usman gets his hand raised, which tells you how terrifying Islam's aura is right now, and at the same time, the lightweight division is cooking up its own civil war that nobody can agree.
UFC, your former division, the welterweight division, they have a new champion, Islam Makhachev, who moved up from 155 to now 170. He beat JDM. What do you make of him now as the welterweight champion?
Yeah, so he beat JDM, and then JDM beat Bilal before that, so it's kind of been a little bit of a musical chairs at 170. I think Shavkat's a really interesting opponent, but he's been out forever. Ian Gary looked pretty good, so I think you probably throw him in there, but I think Makhachev's a favorite until someone proves otherwise.
Ben Askren suggested that
versus Ilia Topuria has fighters split straight down the middle. Rampage hesitated because Ilia's hands are sharp and his confidence is radioactive, but Bear DeGidio came in swinging for Armin. Elite cardio, suffocating wrestling, smooth transitions, real MMA, not just highlights, and Manny Gamburian backed that up.
Could Kamaru Usman get a shot at Islam next? Do you think he's deserving?
Listen, I know I've had issues with him, so I don't want this to sound biased, but I really don't. He obviously was a champion for a long time, but it's been a little bit, and he's had a few losses more recently. The welterweight belt has changed hands a whole bunch of times, right? He lost to Leon lost to Bilal lost to JDM lost to, so it's not like he lost to the last guy and now he's getting a rematch or something. So I feel like the newer guys at welterweight have done enough to justify title shots for themselves, and I don't like it. And I know the favorites card gets played sometimes in MMA and with Dana, and Patty gets a title shot and maybe he doesn't totally deserve it. I like to see when the guys earn it, and I don't love Ian Gary, but I really think he has earned it. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how those younger guys do in the next couple of years.
Masvidal jumped back in and said Armin is getting stalled on purpose, even though he clearly belongs at the top, telling him to just keep smashing bodies until denying him becomes impossible. And that's a scary warning for anyone holding that belt, because pressure like that always explodes eventually.
Islam Makhachev is gonna fight potentially Usman. I like that fight, That's somebody he could wrestle back into Makhachev. That's somebody that I know personally could wrestle back into Makhachev. That's his forte. That's what Usman started with, is his grappling background, and Usman's no pushover in the wrestling. I think he's better on the feet. I think he's bigger, he's longer, he's stronger, he has more experience fighting long fights on his feet as well, and using his defensive wrestling like he did with rat face Kobe's bitch ass, or how he did with the other nut freaking Chasma, whatever his name is. He's very good at fighting those guys. I actually thought he beat the 185-pound champion currently, Chasma, on like a 11-day notice. He just got out of the couch from eating whatever the he was eating, got on a flight, went over there, and beat him 2 out of 3 rounds.
Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev is stacking trophies outside the cage: Athlete of the Year, official ceremonies, political attention, global star status. But Ben Askren wasn't impressed with how he handled Dricus du Plessis, calling it too safe, too controlled, not enough risk, and that criticism lit the fan base on fire because
he still doesn't see Usman coming out on top.
Como é que é você, assim, em termos de confiança? Você acredita que a próxima luta vai ser pelo cinturão? Você acha que vai precisar
Eu
da próxima rodada?
acredito que se o Kamaruzo montar pelo cinturão, eu tenho que fazer mais uma luta. Se não for o Kamaruzo, não acredito muito que vai ser eu.
Você acha que só ele pode falar campeão, né?
Acho que sim. Pelo que eu tô ouvindo aí, acho que sim.
E o que você acha dessa possibilidade de Kamaruzo disputar o cinturão? Ele é mais campeão, ele tem nome e tal, mas...
Mano. Tem muita coisa envolvida, né, mano? Tem o que o Makhachev quer, os dois são mesmo empresário. O cara já é um dos maiores de todos os tempos aí da categoria, pra mim o maior. Então, o que vier vai ser bem feito. Eu acredito que se não for essa luta de cinturão, eu vou fazer mais uma e vou.
E você acha que o Usman tem alguma chance de vencer o cinturão ou você acha que é uma rodada fácil pro Makhachev?
Não, acho que fácil não, mas não ganha. Acho que os
Nasreddin Imavov is sharpening up fast, and the buzz around him is getting louder by the day. Speed, power, confidence, and everyone's waiting on Dana White to make it official. Brendan Allen thinks Khamzat takes it once it hits the ground. Dricus says the division is a mess with no consistent contender, praising talent but calling out the lack of momentum.
Do you want to see him and Arman?
Yeah,
I
the
would
whole world
love
wants
to
to see Arman and Ilya.
Who do you
That's the
got?
fight.
Be honest.
No,
be honest.
That's the fight.
Who do you got?
I'm gonna be honest.
Be honest.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want to see him in Arman because Arman was one of us and stuff now. Because I feel like Topuria hands might be a problem. But everybody say that there's no problem for Arman. Topuria's like striking and he's wrestling and
he's confident.
Yeah.
He's confident. He's been working hard. He's a hard worker. I seen him the way he works. He's tough.
I don't think anybody could touch Arman. And I'm not saying that because I glaze him because he's my friend. I think Arman, his cardio, I think his cardio is incredible. I think his wrestling's incredible, but I think Arman is a true mixed martial artist. People don't get to see this from him. He has so much power and technique from his kicking to his wrestling to his striking, but he's able to put them together so seamlessly.
Imavov admitted his own mother hates the idea of this fight, says brothers shouldn't fight, culture matters, respect matters. But the UFC already told them February is the date, and once that clock starts ticking, there's no backing out. Even Joaquin Buckley couldn't stay quiet anymore, blasting Khamzat for hugging wins instead of hunting finishes, saying wrestling should hurt people.
How do you feel about that fight?
Against Topuria, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough one. It's a very tough one.
For sure.
Can Arman beat him? 100% he can. Yeah, he can beat him.
Yes, for sure.
How? Mix up the striking with the wrestling.
And that's where we're at right now. Islam looming over welterweight, Khamzat surrounded by praise and doubt, Arman knocking on the door, Ilya waiting to prove he's more than hands. February loading in the background like a countdown clock, and one announcement away from flipping everything upside down. So say it now before it happens, because once the
Topuria's abilities in that area.
Do you feel like with Arman Tsarukyan, just before I get off, do you feel like he would have beaten Ilya Topuria had they fought for the actual undisputed title?
I mean, he's going to be a problem for Ilya for sure. I mean, his wrestling is legit. His grappling is legit. We really get to see how good Ilya is, on the ground in that space because he's good, but Arman's elite. So I don't know. We'll see how that all works. But
Jorge Masvidal also voiced his support.
It ends with Islam Makhachev still standing while the entire welterweight picture collapses behind him. And the only question is who gets broken next and why the UFC is about to piss off half the division in the process.
Part of the division's future.
Like Arman should have been way over Gagey, and I feel like Arman should be way over Patty, but he does have that hiccup. So what does he do? Does he sit out? Or does he go out there and make his case? Get another one of these top 5 guys, Arman, I say, take their head off because there's nobody there that could beat him and keep him moving, brother. Then they can't deny you. I think he has to go out there, just beat somebody else, and not even Dana White could say, no, I'm not giving this guy a title shot. After that, there's no way, And the fight to see in 2026 is Arman versus Ilya. Those are the best guys at 155 pounds right now. Let's
Khamzat Chimaev just got crowned Athlete of the Year in Chechnya for his insane 2025 run, and that alone tells you how loud his presence is right now. But here's the twist. Nobody wants to say out loud. Middleweight is clear as day, while welterweight is a total car crash with contenders smashing into each other non-stop, and this is exactly where Islam Makhachev is walking in like a silent executioner, because the belt at 170 has been music.
В номинации «Спортсмен года».
Khamzat Chimaev.
Khamzat Chimaev становится победителем номинации «Спортсмен года».
Указом главы Чеченской Республики награждается.
Ben Askren lit the fuse when he said Islam already beat JDM, and yet the division flipped again right after, which tells you how unstable this weight class really is. Shavkat sounds scary, but he's been gone forever.
His disappointment with Khamzat Chimaev's approach against Dricus du Plessis, feeling the performance lacked risk. From his perspective, Khamzat chose a safer path instead of pushing for damage or momentum.
No matter how mad that makes people. And wait, because Askren dropped something else that's gonna hit hard in about 2 months, when matchmaker,
which made the fight feel more controlled than dangerous.
But in the middleweight division, someone you and I have spoken about before, Khamzat Chimaev, what do you think it'll take to beat him?
Yeah, he looked great against du Plessis. Although I was disappointed he didn't take more chances. He really played it safe, and he could take him down and stay on top of him, but he didn't really try to hurt him too much. So that was kind of disappointing. I thought he looked great. I think he's talking about moving up again, which is weird because he fought 170 not really that long ago. So it's interesting that he's thinking about moving up again. Yeah, he looked great.
also made it crystal clear that Islam should be stress tested by the new blood first before anyone even whispers Kamaru Usman's name, because Usman's legacy is untouchable, but the timing is wrong. The losses changed everything, and the younger sharks have already earned their bites. And that's where the UFC might screw this up if they chase nostalgia instead of momentum.
The thing is, it's like these gaps in wrestling, you know, these gaps in grappling. When a guy's a really good grappler, and then you're taking on a guy like Dricus, who's really a striker.
Right.
He's a good grappler, a good jiu-jitsu guy. But there's levels, you know? And the kind of guy like Khamzat, like, man, you got to be a fucking Olympic caliber wrestler to scrap with that.
Now here's where it gets spicy, because Jorge Masvidal sees it totally different and says Usman is actually Islam's worst nightmare, not because of height, but because of style, size, strength, reach, experience, real grown man wrestling mixed with polished striking. And that's the kind of matchup that doesn't look dangerous until you're stuck under it, wondering how the hell you got there. And don't blink, because the rumor mill is already spinning faster than it should.
Official announcement from Dana White to make it real. The balance would swing firmly in Chimaev's favor.
How you spent time in the cage with Nasruddin, and how real of a chance do you give him in that fight against Chimaev? Because he probably will be an underdog, I would have assumed.
Yeah, I definitely think he has a chance. His striking is good. He's fast. He's pretty quick. But there's not a lot of pop on the punches, to be honest. If Chimaev has good defense, I think he'll be okay there. But I don't know. I think Chimaev will be able to get him down. I think he'll get him down at some point. Imavov's ground isn't really that great. Like he doesn't really do a whole lot, which does make it hard to be offensive when you're just being 100% defensive and you just don't care about anything but not getting finished. It's really hard to get a finish. But I think Chimaev, if he gets him down, can make him work, and I think it'd be a good fight. But I think Chimaev would win.
Imamov's getting the title shot. I think that's the only thing that really makes sense now is Imamov getting that shot at the belt. But I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think Khamzat wins that fight for sure. And as for myself, like I said, I don't really know. The whole division's been mixed up. You know, when you have Imamov and Kaio fighting, these two guys emerge as potential contenders. The winner there is the contender. Not a great fight, in my opinion. You know, those two guys stood there and There was moments of brilliance, make no mistake, and I rate Kyle Bahar. I picked him to win that fight.
Yeah.
But it's on the night he just didn't show up. You know, he just didn't show up.
It's hard to identify a true standout in the division.
Well done to Imam for winning that fight. I mean, he did what he had to do, but yeah, I mean, right now, you don't have anybody who's consistently winning. And that's the problem. How do you pick a contender? You have guys that fight 2 great fights, 1 terrible one.
Yeah.
The consistency isn't there, but there's so many good fighters. It's just a consistency. So glad it's not my job to pick the fights.
Octagon without hesitation.
My story is a bit, you know, my wrestling skills, but I don't know his striking skills. You know, it wasn't MMA. I was there. I just tried to help him. You know, he's a good guy. I know him. Like, he knows me. We know each other. If you ask me, I don't want to fight this guy because he's like, we know each other. Like a Muslim, and he's from Dagestan. You know how it's Dagestan, Chechen people, like, so it will be like a lot of drama on the internet or all these shit things. So I don't like about it. But if you see once it, so I never gonna say no.
At the end of the day, yes, your grappling is a tool, right? But don't use it as a prowess to only get your win, right? At the end of the day, this is a hurt business. If you ain't trying to hurt me, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, you literally gonna hug me until you get to a decision? It's wild. Now, people would say the counter that, well, stop it then, right? Which is cool, but still, the job of the referee even is to keep the engagement of the fight going. And I hate how a lot of positions, a lot of guys are just holding on for dear life and not trying to advance, not trying to get a submission, not trying to ground and pound, and the referee just keep the fight on the ground, you know, which time is wasted. At the end of the day, bro, this is an entertainment business. You can make your wrestling entertaining.
Boogeyman he's made out to be.
I will use Khabib as a great example, right? Khabib used to use his wrestling all the time, grapple guys to the ground, but he never hugged them to death. He used to ground and pound the mess out of you, you know? Slug you, make you look different. Like what he did to Barboza was wild work, right? And I can respect that type of use of your grappling. But if you only are willing to hold somebody down because you do not want to fight on the feet, because you're dead scared that they might knock you out, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, I offered Khamzat $50,000 in order to stay on his feet for at least 1 round and not use his wrestling. Because if he did do that, his ass get knocked the fuck out and get exposed by the world that he ain't really the fucking boogeyman.